AITA for forcing my vegan views on my friend's child? I, F25, decided to become vegan at the beginning of this year. I watched Dominion and just sat there crying the whole time pretty much. So decided I can't knowingly pay for animals to be treated like that anymore. Since then I've been doing really well and I feel a lot better. I cook a lot of my own food. Usually stews, curries, chili, and various other meals. My friend and her 6-year-old came round my house for a catch-up. The child asked if they could have something to eat, so I offered to make him a sandwich and listed off some of the options in my house. Peanut butter, jam, yeast extract, etc. He asked for ham. I explained that I don't keep meat in the house as I don't eat it, so I wouldn't be able to make him a ham sandwich. He then started asking me why I don't eat it. So I explained that to make ham they have to kill pigs and I don't agree with killing animals for food. He got really upset and started crying and asking his mom why she feeds him dead animals. And my friend got really annoyed at me for telling him where food comes from. They left pretty quickly and my friend texted me later on calling me all sorts of names and telling me I shouldn't push my extremist views on her child who now is refusing to eat meat. Maybe I should have just kept my mouth shut. But I feel like children have a right to know and understand what it is they're eating. And I only spoke about it because he was interested and asked me. So AITA? I would just like to add some info that keeps coming up. All I said was exactly what was written in the post. I didn't go into graphic detail about what happens to animals. His mom was present for the entire conversation and made no input until he started crying. Info. How did you describe how the animals are killed? NTA. People, and yes kids too, should know where their food comes from. You didn't force any views onto the child. You explained you don't like eating dead animals. YTA. I've been a vegetarian for 17 years, but I'd never tell a child that his favorite food comes from killing animals. Also, sorry, but you sound horribly self-righteous. You're 25 and just stopped eating meat in the beginning of the year. It's fucking February. I'll assume that you were aware that meat comes from animals before that. So you were completely fine with killing animals for food for quite a long time. It's fine that you decided to change that now, but don't push it on others. Especially not little children. There was no reason you couldn't just have said, sorry, I don't have any ham. YTAOMG, why don't you know how to shut up? YTA. You're like, altogether too smug about how this played out. YTA. If it had been a teenager or a few years older child, it'd have been understandable to explain meat the way you did. But the child here is just 6 years old. The child asked for a ham sandwich. You said you don't have ham because you don't eat meat and ham is meat. You didn't need to explain it that way. You could have simply said you don't have ham. The way you explained a simple thing was such that it was bound to generate a question from the toddler, giving you your cue to explain veganism. And when accused of forcing your views on a toddler, you had the technical term to fall back on, saying that the kid was the one who inquired about it and you couldn't lie. You purposely framed your answer to make sure the kid would inquire about veganism. Indirectly. That's why you're There's nothing wrong with being vegan. It's your life and you have the right to live it the way you want unless it's hurting someone else. Veganism doesn't hurt anyone, other than Flora, so it's okay. But forcing your choices, directly or indirectly, on anyone is wrong and definitely always an asshole move. Yes, the child should know where meat comes from, but you're neither his parent or guardian and thus, it's not your duty nor your responsibility to make him know that. He's a 6-year-old child. Not a teenager or a young adult or something that you need to educate him about life because his parents haven't done it yet. I might get downvoted for this, but YTA. Not because why you told your friend's son, but because of how you told him. He then started asking me why I don't eat it. So I explained that to make ham they have to kill pigs, and I don't agree with killing animals for food. You could have just told him that you don't like it. There was no need to explain further. Just a few months ago there was another post like this where an op told her niece exactly this, and she was called an a-hole, and now this op is doing the exact thing and she is not the a-hole? Are you people out of your minds? It's a 6-year-old child. They do what they see people around them do. And nutrients are important for the child more than it is for op, because he is in the growing stage. And plants can't provide him all the nutrition that he needs. Soft YTA. I don't think the situation is that big of a deal in truth, since the kid would have found out eventually either way. But here's my take. You didn't have to lie. But you could have just said, I don't eat meat, and then directed any further questions to the mother. Or just said that you don't like ham and don't keep it in the house. I don't know how else you expected a little kid to react to what you said. It's the truth. But it's harsh and obviously upsetting if they didn't know beforehand. I would prefer to avoid that kind of situation when visiting with my friend, but that's up to you. I'm mixed on this. This feels like a you should go ask your mom question. Just like if a kid asked where babies come from or who is God. I don't feel like you were in the wrong, but I feel like you were in the wrong lol. Your choices are not wrong, but kids are so impressionable. NTA. You said the truth. And the child deserves to know where their food is coming from. They should not be lied to about what they are eating. NTA, as long as it was an age-appropriate explanation. I mean, many farmer relatives here, so I'm a callous meat eater since a very young age. But I do feel that sometimes people over-shelter children from the world. NTA. By 6 years old, the kid should definitely know where meat comes from. I don't remember a time when I didn't know. This is an unnecessary thing to shelter a kid from. NTA. I am going to go against the grain here. Children deserve to know where their food comes from. He's 6. So grade 1? Pretty sure most schools start to cover food cycles and food chains by now. It's weird he doesn't know? NTA. Presumably your friend was sitting right there when this conversation happened, so if she didn't want you to discuss it, she could have stepped in and headed it off. And if she wasn't there, she should have been. It was a visit, not a babysitting session. I'm certain everything was fixed when Mom made the kid a ham sandwich with extra ham when they got home. I became a vegan when I was a nanny to 6 and a 10-year-old. Funnily enough, it's easy to explain to kids that age. NTA. NTA. A 6-year-old should know where his food comes from. It's so wild to me. Growing up in a village, how many people don't know jack about animal products? She didn't even say the pigs suffer or tell him about the sometimes horrible conditions in animal farms or went into climate, etc. She just stated ham comes from dead pigs. That is true, and 6 years is more than old enough to know that. NTA. You were asked, and you answered. And it doesn't sound graphic or anything. At age 6, I'm surprised a child doesn't know where their food comes from. I'm kinda gobsmacked that so many people are saying 6-year-olds don't and shouldn't know where meat comes from. Was his mom there when he asked why you don't eat ham? If this was something she actively didn't want him knowing about, then it's kinda on her to either jump in and guide the conversation or let people know not to talk about it. It doesn't sound like you went into unnecessary detail or anything. So I'm going with NTA regardless. NTA, he's gonna learn at some point anyway.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.